Good afternoon, everyone. It's really a pleasure to open this panel on a topic that strikes right at the heart of today's technological and regulatory debates, the AI Act of the European Union and data regulation. As we all know, generative and agentic AI are evolving faster than expected, and regulators and organizations are working hard to keep up. With the EU's AI Act now moving into implementation, we are witnessing the first major attempt to govern AI at scale. Its impact goes far beyond compliance. It shapes how companies design products, manage data, assess risk, and make strategic decisions. Today's conversation isn't just about law and policy. It's about how organizations can adapt in a world where innovation and regulation must work together. It's about the responsibilities that advanced AI brings, the risks that demand attention, and the opportunities that come from developing AI responsibly. Our panel brings together 5 distinguished experts who will help us explore these issues from different angles. And my role is to guide the discussion and ensure that we offer insights that matter for organizations in Greece, across Europe, and beyond. So without further ado, let's begin. Let's start this conversation. And let me first start with Petros Fragkiskos. So Petros, from your perspective, what are the key steps organizations should take to become compliant with the AI Act?
Thank you, Antonis, for this question. We've seen so far that organizations, first of all, sometimes they don't know if they have AI systems. So it's really important to go for a mapping and have an AI inventory. So all AI systems and applications need to be cataloged somewhere so they know what they do and what they use. When we have this inventory, the next step would be to assign to internally or externally to experts and see if these are covered by EU AI Act, because not all AI systems are covered by EU AI Act. When we have recognized and we have seen the systems, because EU AI Act is mainly about the systems and then about the organizations, then the organizations need to proceed with the risk classification. So they need to see if these AI systems are prohibited, the ones that should have stopped back in 2025, 2nd of February. Then they need to see if they are high risk or if they are low risk or without risk. When we have identified and see the risk of the systems that we use or we develop, then we proceed with the organization itself. So there are multiple roles that they need to be taken into consideration and see if actually the organization is a deployer, which means a user, according to EU AI Act, or the organization is a provider, which means someone who is conducting, creating AI Act, or importer, or distributor. And then, when they will have realized what they do, the next step is the governance. The governance for an organization is really important because according to their role, they need to take into action internal procedures in order to take the next steps regarding the EU AI Act, but generally the AI within their organization. After that, they need to define a body within the organization which should be comprised with different professionals, for example, tech, regulatory experts, legal experts. So it's going to be the body that will take every step for the AI Act, but generally with anything that happens within the organization and has to do with the AI Act. And finally, awareness is really important because organizations should have already done webinars within the organization and other initiatives with different level of expertise. For example, the management level should have done more things, the AI expert less, but entirely the entire organization should have been prepared for the EU AI Act and generally the AI systems. So these are the main steps that they need to take into consideration if they want to be compliant.
Thank you, Petros, for this very concise presentation. Let's turn now to Sofia Argiti, data and AI specialist at ABM. So, Sofia, with generative AI and agentic AI introducing new categories of risk, how can organizations systematically map and assess this risk across their operations?
Okay, so we are now at the fourth summit, okay? The last 2 years, what we have been discussing is that one of the key reasons AI projects fail is due to fear. Fear of uncertainty, fear of losing control, fear of unpredictable actions now with agents, and also fear of regulatory compliance and things like EU AI Act. But the EU AI Act is not here to make our lives harder. It's here to put a framework to organize us, and what it does, like Petros said, it forces us to answer one very key question. Are you aware of the risks that you are taking by building this solution? So what we say to our customers daily is to ignore FOMO. FOMO is the fear of missing out, and to understand the risks of the use cases, because then you can decide wisely what risks you are willing to take and what not. It's not an easy topic to identify and know the risks, especially we had traditional ML, easier. Then Gen AI, now agentic AI is even more dynamic and complex. So I would like to everyone to Google search for IBM AI Risk Atlas. Not now, after the panel discussion. Risk Atlas is something built from IBM Research, and IBM decided to provide it to open source, to open community. What it is, it's a library of all the risks for traditional ML, Gen AI, and now agentic AI, so that everyone, our customers, can understand the risks and map them to their own use cases. I was going through it yesterday. I was reading industry new risks for agentic AI. Specific for agentic AI, you can read about the risk of redundant actions. We didn't have it before. The risk of sharing sensitive information, PII/IP information to other tools. We were discussing Gen AI risk sharing to users. Now there is a risk of sharing to other tools, because this is what agents do. They call many systems and other tools. One interesting risk was the risk of AI agent regulatory compliance, because AI Act was crafted even before we were discussing about agents. So it is a little bit unclear to our customers how they will comply for agents for AI Act. So the key point is that risks are always there. They are not going away, but once we know them, we can manage them.
And every innovation, every step towards technological development is associated with risks. So we've got to be, you would say, risk lovers or risk averse people?
Risk lovers.
Okay.
But we know the risk, right?
Yes.
We know them.
Okay. Thank you, Sofia. And now let's move to Spiros. Spiros Tassis, partner at Potamitis, Vecris. What about AI ethics now? When we look at this global regulatory landscape from the EU to the US, where do we currently stand on the transition from AI ethics to concrete AI liability frameworks, dear Spiros?
Hi, Adonis. Thank you very much for this question. Hello, everybody. Good evening. The truth is that being a tech lawyer for the last almost 30 years, I have to say that on the regulatory aspect, trying to catch up with the technology is a constant running, because you are trying to invoke traditional legal schemes in something that you don't really know how it works. So that's why we have all this anxiety about technology and this curiosity about how far we can go with it and how less we can react with the traditional rights and other legal instruments. The thing with the AI, it's the same like every other technology emerged in the last 40 years, 50 years. At first, we try to apply ethics, ethical use. As you may know, all about AI is how you use it. AI is an instrument, is a tool. So what we try to regulate is how you use it. So as it was before said, we have separated the use of AI to several levels of risk. The higher the risk, the most regulatory intervention we have. Now, moving from ethical aspects to real materialized liability is not that easy. In Europe, we have more theoretical background and a more concrete legal framework, which lead us to try to invoke more ex-ante legal frameworks, which means that we're trying beforehand to normalize, regularize, and fit into our legal schemes the technology. On the other hand, in the United States, they are based more on soft law, especially regarding technology. And this is a crucial difference between the two jurisdictions, and it reflects also to the industry. This is the case also here. With the Trump administration, we realized in Europe that we have to change somehow how we see liability in some emerging technology. And the Vice President Vance said that in the AI summit in Paris last year. I think the result of it was the change of the mind of the European bureaucracy and the abolishing of the AI liability directive, which now will never be in effect. On the other hand, what we did is to invoke all the liability issues to the updated product liability directive in Europe, which now provides for direct and explicit liability for AI and related software products.
For the first time.
For the first time. So that is where we stand. Worldwide, even in China and in Singapore or other AI powers, they are trying to limit the effect of liability to industry and at the same time to preserve some fundamental rights. Of course, it's not the same in other jurisdictions. In China, for example, they're trying to preserve more the notion of the national defense against foreigners who try to invade with AI. In Japan, they try to preserve their industry, as also in the United States. In Europe, we still are more keen to preserve the fundamental rights of all of us, the subjects of, or the objects of AI systems. And this is something that we stand right now regarding moving from ethical, theoretical schemes to real liability in AI.
Thank you very much, Spiros. It seems that we still need an ethical, let's say, design of the AI mechanisms, and this is where at least the, let's say, this is the time the legal philosophers or the moral philosophers take their revenge somehow, because we need their guidance. So, Mr. Yannis Krasonikolakis, now PhD, Head of Applied Intelligence and Predictive Analytics Technology at Thornton. We move on to the real-world impacts of the AI Act. From the standpoint of organizations that are already using AI in production systems, how do you, Yannis, assess the real-world impact of the EU AI Act, and how prepared do you believe Greek and European companies currently are?
Lovely. Thank you for this opportunity. Thanks for being here, and congratulations to the organizers for such an event. And it's also great that I'm going to build the bridges here from the theory to practice, because I totally agree with our colleagues here on the theoretical part of that. But on the other side, practically, it's how you see things. So is it something that it's considered as a new regulation, or we are very blessed, and I want to keep this, that we live in an era that we move from experimentation to industrialization to the extent of AI, though. So from building use cases, new opportunities, identifying new cases, we have a framework, we have some guidelines, I would say. Of course, there is that legal part that was discussed earlier, but this does not set the boundaries in terms of creativity, in terms of entrepreneurship, and in terms of critical thinking. So all these dimensions are there. we can use them. So it does not make any difference compared to other areas and the scenery around the world. What is happening now in Greece and in Europe, eloquently put by the international environment in terms of what they do in the US, in China on the other side, and other areas that are in between, I would say. For example, we see the UK, that they have research institute, that they are doing, developing new research, that it is funded by China or by Singapore, so complex systems in that area. However, actually, we are innovators in Europe, in terms of setting the boundaries, although we are not there yet in terms of the AI Act. So in Europe, around a third of companies last year were using AI, but less than 20% are prepared with a clear AI strategy and compliance set of procedures. And in Greece, it's even worse, but on the other side, it gives us the opportunity and the push that we have more to offer, and we can be ready in the next couple of years to meet those requirements set by the new act.
So you think that there is still room for improvement?
It is still room for improvement. At the same side, we should not forget that we are innovating, we are providing and focusing and building on developing new products and services on an ethical infrastructure and taking into consideration
the regulatory framework.
The regulatory framework as a vehicle towards this direction.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Yannis. And now what about the certification industry? Michalis Alexiou, Head of AIT and Security Senior Auditor at TÜV Nord. Michalis, how do you see now the role of the certification industry in the context of the EU AI Act? What position will certification bodies such as yours hold as compliance becomes mandatory under the regulation?
Hello to everyone. Thank you for the question. I believe that certification is going to be the bridge between the regulations and the practical way to get the requirements for the companies. So if you see the latest time period from for the regulation starting from GDPR, you will notice that regulations and standardization are going together hand by hand, meaning that a lot of processes that are part of the standardization, like risk assessment and policies and processes, are adapting by the regulation and are becoming in force for everybody's, it has to be compliant to them. So we believe that certification body and the certification industry is going to play a pivotal role in the whole industry. Because they are going to make everybody be in part of the compliance processes to be ready to be certified. So it will be one step ahead to the compliance process.
The criteria that you use are based solely on the AI Act, or do you also implement some best standards or practices?
There is already a standard, the ISO 42001, which is getting requirements from the regulations, the EU AI Act.
Okay.
It is also adapting processes from the overall standardization, meaning policies and procedures, etc. It is also adapting a specific sector like information security, that it has to be in place, and the requirements that it has to be in place also, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, the second round of questions. I'll start once again with Petros. There is this sense of fear, whether regulation is something that we need, or we must get rid of it, or we must somehow restrict its limits. Do you view the AI Act, Petros, more as an impediment or as an opportunity for organizations? This is the first sub-question. And the second one, in your experience, do organizations pursue AI Act compliance mainly out of fear of penalties, or are there deeper strategic or, let's say, operational reasons that motivate the companies to comply?
Thanks for the question. Let's clarify something. It was back in 2018 when GDPR came into our lives. So everybody at that point was scared about the fines. GDPR was another, we would say that they are cousins. It's another side of EU regulation. And when it came to our lives, it stopped marketing departments. It reorganized the HR department. So it put a lot of impediments in our daily lives in the organizations. Now, we have a different type of legislation with EU AI Act, and again, they share the fact that they have fines. But fines is not the most critical part of the AI Act. All our clients, especially the biggest organizations, they want to be compliant for fines. But fines is only one part of it. We see when we go to organizations that the true market leaders, they use AI Act as, not as an impediment, but as an opportunity, as Yannis said before. They use it in their real life. If they are providers, or if they construct AI systems, they want to have trustworthy AI. Because trustworthy AI, which is the notion, the main idea of the AI Act, is the basis, is the way that they can lead the market. So if they have trustworthy AI, they help them after many years when they will have problems with the things that they create. So if they have trustworthy AI, they are much better and more competitive in their market. So market leaders, they want it. And also we've seen the fact that many corporations, and especially the bigger ones, they believe that EU AI Act is a way of talent acquisition and retention, even in the case also when it's voluntarily. For example, if you have seen, the EU AI Office has developed the PACT initiative. The PACT initiative is an initiative that many big corporations and organizations have opted voluntarily to comply to AI codes. So this means that, of course, there are fines, and especially the biggest corporations, when they call us, they believe that we need to do something urgently for the fines. But if they use AI Act by design, and they use it now, it's not going to be an impediment, it's going to be an opportunity, it will bring trustworthy AI, it's a competitive advantage, market leaders, they want it, and it helps also for talent acquisition and retention. So from the things we've seen, it's much more than fines, which is the initial idea.
Okay, thank you very much. And you can see that there is a difference in the approach between the United States and the European Union. We have a strict regulatory framework as regards the GDPR and the AI Act. And on the other hand, the United States have not adopted such regulatory frameworks. They adopted a more liberal, let's say, approach. But at the end of the day, there are some companies that follow those patterns, even in the United States, because they see that they are somehow effective in practice. So, Sofia, how's IBM now helping organizations put the EU AI Act into practice? And what tools do you provide to support AI risk management and compliance throughout the entire life cycle?
So when we started to discuss about Gen AI, everyone was talking about LLMs, model performance, so nice responses, fancy demos. At IBM, we took a different parallel way. We stood up and we talked from the early beginning for governance, because without governance, you don't have the trustworthy AI, as mentioned, and without trustworthy AI, you don't have AI adoption. So even before AI Act was a headline, at IBM, we have been building the tools in order to help our customers actually operationalize what AI Act asks them to do today. So we have built these years our platform. It's called WatchOnX Governance, specifically built for the full life cycle of AI governance. and specifically helps our customers be compliant with AI Act. One thing that we have been discussing, of course, is risk management, risk assessment, etc., etc. So at the platform, you have, for example, risk identification assessments where you can, your use cases, you have the inventory, you can map them to the risks of the atlas, as I mentioned before. You have assessments for EU AI Act applicability and things like that. So all the risk management capabilities. Then you need, based on AI Act, model documentation. So we automatically can track and create documentation for Gen AI, agentic AI use cases. And of course, what AI Act says is that all the use cases are dynamic. You need to monitor and evaluate continuously. So they provide this capability as well with ready-made KPIs, etc., etc. So this is the platform that we position in the market. And what we want for our customers is to make the regulations and everything an operational advantage, to have the technology to make this advantage of what they want to do and the innovation they want to bring in the company.
And those risk assessment tools are based on AI models themselves, or not?
Not necessarily. No. You have a human respond on the use case, what they are willing to do, how it works.
I mean, the platform is designed only by humans or with the help of AI agents?
Of course, there are both.
Both
Humans and technology can do great things.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sofia. Spiros, once again, AI ethics from another perspective now. Given this dual-use nature of AI, and especially generative AI, what do you see as the most critical and immediate, let's say, threats on the cybersecurity front? And what practical defensive measures should organizations be implementing today?
Yes, that's very interesting. Thank you very much, because that's a crucial issue, and that's why I would like to start saying that I don't agree with my friend Petros about the GDPR being an impediment.
There is room for disagreement.
It was the first step to lead us to a better governance of the data. And the better governance of the data is the key for effective AI systems and AI applications within the organization or towards our customers or suppliers or whatever. And Antonis, the CCPA, the equivalent of the GDPR to California, is even stricter than the GDPR. In the United States, they try to be more sector-oriented. That's why they don't have a federal privacy law, and they have sectoral or by its country. Okay, πολιτεία, δεν θυμάμαι πώς λέγεται. States, thank you. The problem with the cybersecurity is that as this technology rises up so rapidly, the threats emerge quicker than the response. And that's the main problem with AI in cybersecurity. We can all see, and if we read the news, even from the last week, people that do not have any special relation to technology can create fake voices, fake websites, fake everything.
Deep fake.
Yes, deep fake, and sometimes not even deep fake, and fool people that you will not expect to be fooled. Social engineering and fraud in social engineering is at the peak with AI, because you tend to believe what you see or what you hear. For companies, for organizations, the problem is very big, because these threats attack a lower position in the companies. Someone in supply chain, or someone who is doing a very plain work, but it has an email, it's the main target within a company to get fooled that he is communicating with an executive or with a big client or whatever. And that's the back door for all the threats. On the other hand, AI offers very quick reaction, very quick discovery of the threats, and very quick recognition of what is threat or what is, let's say, a usual use of someone who doesn't know how to use all these repositories well. So it has two faces, one bad and one good, but this is always the case with the technology, as we said before. What we should do, and that's why I started with, with how GDPR helped, is to follow the steps and have a solid system, a data governance program. This shows to an organization quickly where the fault is, where the problematic issues lies, so you can react quicker, more efficient, and have also a supply chain which follows you. Otherwise, you will be more or less an easy target and going to not just generative AI, but to generic AI, AGI. This will be with a tremendous coincidence for some middle companies, which is the main type of companies we have in Greece. So as a result of all that, I think that every company has to benefit from a good governance internal program that shows which are the issues, which are the data, how can we use the data, which systems convey data, who are the owners of the processes, and how can we easily and quick react to the incidents.
Thank you, Spiros. And you rightly hinted at it, because every technological groundbreaking technological development is associated with this dilemma. Is it a blessing or a curse? Yannis, sorry. How do you personally, let's say now, balance the need to innovate rapidly in generative AI and predictive models with the constraints introduced by the regulatory framework of the EU AI Act? And could you walk us through, very briefly, through the concrete or main steps companies should take to stay compliant without losing the momentum, which is also a crucial thing in the United States as well?
True, and the good thing is that we haven't lost the momentum yet. In our talk today, Petros mentioned 4 times at least trustworthy. Same did Sofia at least 2 times. So we have trustworthy, which is practically means that there are a lot of guidelines, regulations, etc. And it's not that they are not only good people and kind that they want to offer to the society. My point of view is exactly this one. Building trustworthy is very important for the market and for the society. The basis of this is trust. Returning back to the basics, we need to build trust between the companies and the customers. So starting from that, the EU AI Act legislation is helping us towards this direction. This is in our nature, actually, in Grant Thornton, because at the same time, we've been one of the few in Greece, at least, that we have developed the AI Center of Excellence, and one of the very first products, it was the EU AI Act. And we have delivered this service/product with the biggest from every sector in Greece. So we have Systemic Bank that we have delivered this service, we have shipping, we have insurance, so we have covered this area, so we are confident that it's something that we can do, and Greece, as part of the EU, can be in the forefront of such endeavors. So what you need to do, and also mentioned earlier as well, you start from what you have. So what are the systems that you have? An AI registry, without being clearly an AI, I mean, it can be other types of the spectrum of AI.
It is also a matter of proper definition.
Exactly, and that is very true. And if we look into different disciplines, we can see different approaches in terms of how they perceive it.
Not all things are AI or algorithms, but...
Exactly. You're absolutely right.
Somehow the discussion is blurred.
So you start from that, then you see the interconnections between those systems. You move on with a strategy, with a compliance, not only the data, the customer and user logs that you have within the organization, the training part and material, and at the end of the day, you need to end up with a tool, with a dashboard, with a platform where you need to monitor these over time, because it's just the starting point today. It's not one service that can last for 2-3 months and this is it. It's something that we need to live with.
Thank you very much, Yannis. And now Michalis' turn. Once again, the certification industry. And my question now to you, Michalis, to what extent does certification may influence the compliance mechanisms organizations such as companies adopt? And conversely, how is the certification landscape shaped by the compliance strategies companies choose to implement?
Yes. Certification and compliance are going to the same direction. Maybe they're not having the exact same scope, but the steps for compliance and certification are on the same way. So when an organization needs to be certified, it has to be prepared in a specific, with specific steps and processes, and that whole procedure is making him to be a step up from to the compliance target. So this is the first one. The preparation for a certification process creates the mentality and creates a specific environment, so it would be easier for the compliance to be in place.
So do you think that it is very helpful to somehow consolidate those patterns, those mechanisms of certification, and this will help also in order to better or more efficiently implement the regulatory framework?
Exactly. It is creating the specific environment that the compliance, it would be easier to be in place.
Thank you very much. And one last question, whomever of you may, let's say, it may be addressed to all of you, but there is a need on the part of the AI companies to get even more data, okay? They need them, they badly need them. In the United States, they can have them more easily than in the European Union. And there are some people, some scholars as well, Nobel laureates that say that we need data processing also in the European Union in order to boost the AI innovation. Would you agree with this proposal or not? Sofia.
100%, especially every organization, of course, they can use the available technology, Gen AI, LLMs, agents. What will differentiate the use case of each one is the usage of its own data. So, of course, 100%, I fully agree. I believe we are getting there.
Without any reservation?
Correct.
Yannis.
You know, there are those gurus of the past that, although they have created something very specially, when they become old, they try to tell us about the barriers and some dangers that evolve around those kind of issues. Of course, one of those is the guru of modern AI algorithms, who has said that recently, actually, yes, we need, but in a confronted way where we can use them not only to the extent of the actual use and for the results that they offer, but we need to think over the process, the outcome, and the decision-making, which is the human aspect is very important. So we don't need only to talk about data and machines. There is the human element, which at the end is a barrier that decides on the other way or the one.
At least for the time being, we decide as humans. And then, Spiros.
Yes, well, the statement is correct, because AI systems are characterized by data bulimia. I mean, without data, they cannot perform anything. The truth also is that if you feed the AI systems with garbage, they will take out garbage. So If you don't have proper data, you cannot have proper AI application and systems. What kind of data? Well, I agree with the statement. I don't agree with the procedure. The procedure from the people or the big companies that say that is totally different that we are used here in Europe. I mean, we need to take the best out of data, but not for any reason or for any product. We have to preserve some fundamental rights. This is what Europe is doing. That's the European legal civilization. I don't think that we should withdraw so much from it.
I fully agree, Spiros, and then Michalis.
Yes, I will follow the same thought, because we have to be very clear on how we are going to use those data. We have to be very clear on how we are going to gather those data. And because we are on the certification process, we think that we have to stay with the processes, everything to be clear.
Okay, thank you. And Petros, last but not least.
As our previous speaker said, I fully agree with human oversight, of course, as Yannis said, and as Spiros said, proper governance. If we have proper governance and it's trustworthy, then we can do whatever we like, but we need some barriers, some limits.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for attending this panel, this session, and thank you for this wonderful conversation.